You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion, delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots, the actions you can take, how your family, your business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof of your head, your bank account, anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest.
Welcome back.
She's back.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mary Gaston, Realty Pro 100, back with us after a hiatus.
Yes.
Baby making hiatus.
Yes.
Nice. Oh, wonderful. So we're going to do the millennial and the old man once again. And let me remind you, if you ever have any more finance-related questions again, reach out to me, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. I do have a great team, and I talk first. Well, I talk a lot, but they're all there to help everyone as we move through the process. And yes, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Ironic enough, before the broadcast, we were chatting about this. National Peanut Day. You would think they would have National Peanut Day. Shouldn't that be like right at the beginning of baseball season? That's when I don't know. I think about peanuts for baseball and going out to the games. In April, at least, as an Angel fan, we still have a little bit of hope. Not a lot, but a little bit of hope that there might be a decent team. I've been a lifelong Angel fan. Disappointed many, many times. National Peanut Day. It is today. Let's see what else. What else are we celebrating today? Uncle Sam Day. I was trying to figure out why today is Uncle Sam Day. What's the day that the person depicted as Uncle Sam was born in 1776? So that is why we have Uncle Sam Day. And this one could cause some trouble, but it would be fun because, not being sexist or anything, but I'm a dad. I like to watch things. National Kids Take Over the Kitchen Day. I bet it would drive a lot of moms nuts if the young ones start taking over the kitchen. You're a little premature for that one.
A little young.
Just a little young. Okay. But you've got nieces, nephews that do that?
Yep.
Do they take over the kitchen?
Oh, absolutely. My niece is a huge baker.
And is it messy, or is she clean, or how does she?
She's pretty messy.
She's pretty messy. Okay. Kind of like that's the way I am too. I don't bake, but it's always a mess. Celiac disease. When my kids were young, we didn't even talk about celiac disease or gluten-free or any of those things. It was, here, have it. If you don't like it, too bad. Eat it anyway. We didn't even think about any of those other issues that we deal with in this day. Was it good or bad? I don't know. Were you worried about celiac when you were little?
I don't think I ever heard that word until I was like 21.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was. Yeah, I don't know. Now, are you watching those things or dealing with those with your baby?
Well, she's not fully eating yet.
She's not eating yet. Okay,
Yeah,
so
still has another month.
Okay, a little bit of time still. Okay, let's take a look and see what the markets are doing. The Dow Jones up 46, the S&P 500 up 12, NASDAQ up 58, and oil is up again. And we'll talk more about that in the Mortgage Minute today. Oil is really hurting the market, but we could have expected it. Let's see what else is going on in the world. There's a lot of interesting stories going on right now. The funniest one to me, kind of funny, I guess, being that I have a warped sense of humor. Keith Olbermann. Anybody remember Keith Olbermann? Once upon a time, Keith Olbermann was a well-respected sportscaster. Now, all we can say about him is
idiot.
Yeah.
Such an idiot.
So he left
Idiot.
or was fired from ESPN and went to MSNB Hee Haw. And now he comes out with a new story. This is a fascinating one. So, and it's, you got to look at people like Keith Olbermann, what an idiot like him. And you wonder, why does anybody pay any attention to him? because it's not even good comedy. So Keith Olbermann comes out yesterday mocking Aaron Rodgers after the man gets hurt. Now, does anybody really celebrate somebody else getting hurt? Not unless you're Keith Olbermann and you're an idiot. But Keith Olbermann's new comment is, well, it's because he wasn't vaccinated. I reiterate.
Such an idiot.
Yes, Keith Olbermann is an idiot. So that's the Keith Olbermann story of the day. I guess if you're vaccinated with some vaccine that doesn't do anything, well, I shouldn't say it doesn't do anything. Some people believe it does. But the bottom line is, I don't think it has anything to do with your Achilles tendon. I haven't heard that one, although it could be almost anything that they'll come up with nowadays on what that's doing and how that's helping people or not helping people. Moving right along. Another story I want to, especially when we talk about home and finance. Did anybody watch this morning or last night the news about the new Apple releases? iPhone, $900 or $800 to start with, going up to about $1,900. I looked at the new iPhone, and I'm a techie. I like technology. I have fun with it. I can't justify that expense unless there's something wrong with your old one. Did you see the new iPhone come out?
No, I don't follow any of that.
Okay. So
There's never anything exciting.
what? Yeah, it's not exciting. Right. It's so you've got a camera that goes telephoto lens 5x. Who cares? The other one did 5x too. You get a USB-C adapter. Well, for $1,000 to $2,000, I can buy a lot of those old Lightning adapters. It's not a big issue. I don't see a big difference in the camera. Now, you're probably taking lots of pictures now.
Yeah, of the baby.
I would imagine, new mom, take lots of pictures. So, but I can't. What phone do you use?
I think honestly, I don't know.
It's iPhone, Android?
Yeah, it's an iPhone.
iPhone.
I think it's either the 13 or 14.
Okay, so if you look at the top, it'll tell you if it's you have a floating goodie up there?
A what?
A floating tab up there. Does that float? No. So you're at least a 13 or below. You have the little floating dot along the top is the big idea of the biggest change. So is it a valuable change even on the 14? No. The only reason I will admit that I have one is I am techie. My wife is absolutely not. If she had her choice, if she could get a flip phone with a camera, she'd be happier. But her phone was stolen, so we had to get a new phone, and we just bought that one. But the bottom line is, think about this. My youngest son wants a new phone. Does he need a new phone? No. It's about want. Now, he doesn't make a huge amount of money. He's got a great job over at Disney. And I look at it and say, is it worth 2 full weeks of take-home pay for a new phone? 2 full weeks of take-home pay. He's got a phone that works perfect. I'm just throwing that out there. Take a look before you go and buy a new phone. Obviously, we are not sponsored by Apple. But if you're thinking about this, I've said this many, many times. Now think about this whole concept. A new phone, a new Air Mac or iMac. I guess the other one that they came out with or announced yesterday, you can snap your fingers and your watch will do something goofy with the newest Apple Watch. If you have an Apple Watch, I don't have one of those. I don't want to be tracked that much. I've tracked enough. But the bottom line here is, think about this. 2 years of an iPhone, roughly $2,000 unless you get the iPhone iPro Max or whatever. I get the big one because I can't see. I'm old. But 2 years of that, $2,000, you can almost buy a new house for that. Think about that. Get down payment assistance. So all you have to do is come up with your closing costs, unless you've got a really great agent who can help you negotiate that into your transaction. You can almost buy a new house for the cost of a couple of years worth of iPhones. Save your money. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, should baby boomers buy or rent after selling their house? We're going to go back to old school, Millennial and the old man. We're going to talk about the real estate market. What does the old timers see in it? What do the younger people see in it? We'll talk about that on more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
79% of all credit reports have errors that should be corrected through factual disputing. You could be saving thousands every year if your report was accurate. CreditSanitizer.com provides a free credit report audit when you furnish a specific $1 credit report. You can use this information to request corrections to your report and potentially save thousands of dollars. Get your free credit audit at CreditSanitizer.com. That's CreditSanitizer.com for a free credit report audit. CreditSanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. Make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates. We do not know APR, points paid, points received. They just say the locked rates amongst their consumer base of 42% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. Yesterday's numbers: 30-year conforming 7.19, jumbo 30-year 7.57, FHA 30-year 6.969, 30-year USDA, that's the rural areas, generally no down payment, 7.002, and the best loan on the market for those that earned it, 6.778. That is the 30-year VA loan, 6.778. If you want our commentary first thing every morning, as early as we can get it out to you, rsrmarketminute.com, rsrmarketminute.com. We tell you exactly what we see in the markets each day, rsrmarketminute.com. Let's take a look at what's going on in the markets today. The 10-year Treasury, flat, up 0. The S&P 500, flat, up 0.84. Mortgage-backed securities, flat, up 0.3. Not a whole lot going on in the market today. Why? Because the CPI numbers were pretty benign. Not a whole lot of excitement in those consumer price index numbers that were released this morning at 5:30 our time. Yes, those of us that have no life, we were up then. August Consumer Price Index report showed that overall inflation increased 0.6%, which was in line with estimates. Year-over-year inflation increased from 3.2 to 3.7, 10th hotter than estimates. Core rate takes out food and energy for those people that don't need food or energy. We track that as well. Increased by 0.3%, which was a 10th hotter than estimates. Year-over-year core CPI decreased from 4.7 to 4.3 as expected. We knew it. We told you. We've been telling it to you quite a while now. Energy prices would work against us. And sure enough, they rose 5.6%. 5.6. Yeah, that's a big jump. Gasoline rose 10.6%. Food prices were tame and only rose 0.2%, while used cars continue to fall and dropped by 1.2. The big help was shelter costs. We've been telling you right along that those have been lagging for quite a while, and they'd eventually catch up. Thankfully, they're catching up while oil prices are going up. Shelter costs rose by 0.3% in July, rose by 7.3% year over year, which is down from 7.7% in the previous year. Rents up 0.5% last month and are up 7.8% year over year, down from 8% in the previous report. Owner's equivalent rent, they use this one. It's a dumb number because how many owners really know what their own property would rent for? Probably not. Tries to capture the increase in home ownership costs, rose 0.4% and is up 7.3% year over year, down from 7.7%. And the volatile one is lodging away from home. That's hotels and Airbnbs and things like that. That's down 3%. Shelter component will continue to be friendly And that's about 43.7% of what the CPI numbers are. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So as we've done in the past, not for a little while, but as we've done in the past, we like to get the old man perspective of what's going on in the real estate market. We get the millennial perspective from Mary Gaston, Realty Pro 100. She's in the millennial class. That's why we bring in the millennial. That's why we titled it this segment. And it's amazing how the differences are in perception. Obviously, it's just because of experience, right? Someone like me, I've seen many markets firsthand. You just get to see them in the history books.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what we like to chat about here and see what's going on in the market. And I don't know if you've caught it, Mary. I've been on a rant lately. With
When
our
you not on a rant.
That's true. Chapman University came out with their economic forecast update, and they said home prices are going to drop 11%.
No.
And they didn't tell anybody that what they're really talking about is median home prices.
I have heard that rant. Yes, I heard that last week from you.
Yeah, so you look at it and you say, okay, why won't they tell people the whole story? Because your comment was exactly what I said. Prices are not going down. Do you see that in the marketplace?
No.
Do you foresee it?
No.
And you're not even an economist?
No.
See that then? But the question, we'll get to it a little bit here in a minute. 1 out of 4 people still think prices are going to go down.
Okay.
Does it make any sense?
Absolutely not.
I just don't get it. Year over year, seasonally adjusted annual existing home sales. Now we can see that home sales are dropping.
Yes.
West Coast, 12.5, down 12.5%. Do you see that within your firm as well?
Oh, absolutely.
So right now, the only thing you can hope for is take as a firm is trying to just grab market share,
Yeah.
right? So that's the bigger issue. But down 16.5%, does that mean it's an opportunity for somebody to sell?
Yeah, absolutely. Prices are still going up.
Prices are going up, and you don't have as much competition.
Yes.
So that could be a big issue. And ironically enough, Lawrence Yun, he is an economist, and he comes out saying that the current sales activity is based on inventory availability and mortgage rates, which I don't think you have to be an economist to know that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's like a no-brainer. I think I've got Gomer telling us it.
Surprise, surprise.
Man, I mean, there's no, why is somebody going to move unless they have to?
Exactly.
Right? If they've got we know like 70% of the people have a mortgage below 4%. Why in the world? Diamonds, diapers, diplomas?
Yeah.
Right? That's.
And even then, though, people are still hanging on, even though they sort of are in that need.
They've got a need and they're still going to hang on.
Yeah. They're not going to let go of that.
They're not going to sell, but they might buy.
It's uncomfortable for people to let go of the 4%. And if, like, for example, if it's the diapers and they need a bigger house, a lot of people are just making the space they have work because it's going to be a huge jump with the interest rate increase to get a bigger place now than it was a couple years ago when they got in.
So what about the first time buyers, the younger buyers, similar, well, you can't use you because you're an anomaly. You did a lot of things in advance that people should do. But I bet a lot of your peers didn't go and get that first starter home and then be in a position to get the next home.
Correct.
So are they saying that they're going to stop? Are they talking about waiting until interest rates go back to 2%?
I think that's what a lot of people are waiting for because at this point now they can't afford to get the bigger house that they need.
Okay.
They're in the.
Can they afford to get anything?
Not really. A lot of people are stuck because they can't afford to get what they need now, so they're in that starter home for a while.
Well, at least they're in a starter home in their own home.
Yes, and then the ones who were saying, "Oh, I'm just going to wait for the market to crash," I haven't heard that in a long time.
You haven't?
I haven't.
Okay, that's good.
I think it's after 3-4 years, it's finally stuck with them that it's not going down anytime soon.
It's not going down. What about interest rates? Do they believe that interest rates are going to be dropping?
I think that's what people are hoping, because now that the prices have gone up, that's the only sort of little hope they can grasp onto, is the interest rates will go down, so the affordability is a little bit better.
Do you ever talk and hear anyone talking about what they think is a needed number? Like right now, I think I said before that yesterday loans locked at 7.19.
Mm-hmm.
Is 6 going to be the number that they feel comfortable with? 5?
I always just tell people, if you can afford it now, do it now, because rates will go down. If and when they go down, you can refinance.
Right.
But historically, real estate's going to go up.
So act now instead of worrying about what the numbers are.
Yes.
Makes a lot of sense. But the question becomes is, will people listen?
Yeah.
And no matter how much we talk about it, and maybe I shouldn't put it that way. Maybe it's our job to talk about it.
Absolutely.
Right. To inform people that, hey, what is, I'll throw this at you. Have you ever asked a millennial, in your peer group,
mm-hmm.
what it would take for interest rates to go to 2 or 3% again?
I haven't.
The fascinating thing is in my lifetime, I've only seen interest rates, in the 3s twice.
Mm-hmm.
Once was during the Great Recession. Don't want to go back to that. Once was during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to go back to that.
Yeah.
So do we really want 3% interest rates? Right? People you don't hear people talk about that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Is what would cause them to go back there.
Yeah.
Man, not a good idea.
Yeah. It's just they don't have that concept and understanding, though, of the
of
history of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because, from my perspective, I got into real estate, 10 years ago now? It's always been sort of around 6, 7 has been the highest I've seen.
Sure. This probably right now is probably the highest you've ever seen.
Exactly.
Not like me with the 18% in 1983.
Yeah, so my normal is probably more like 5%.
Okay. Which is a good point, because some of the stats that are out there actually show that if we get a 5 handle, first digit being a 5, whatever follows that is called a 5 handle. So if you get a 5 handle, that's going to really open up a lot of people to say, something, I think I need to go out and buy.
Mm-hmm.
Question is, what get people to go out and say, I'll go out and sell?
Yes.
Right? Because that could be, maybe or may not. So one of the other catalysts that we've seen that's driving this inventory or the housing sales decline is new construction. So we've got 14 years in a row where we've been below average in new construction.
Mm-hmm.
Does that surprise you?
No, but I've seen more and more popping up for sure.
Okay.
But it's different because I live out in the middle of nowhere where there's a lot of land to build on.
Oh, so there's still land where you can actually build.
Yeah. So there's a lot of land. So there's a lot of builders who are building. They're building quick.
Really? So they're getting them up. They're getting them done.
Yep.
Are the properties staying on the market very long?
They've definitely slowed down as compared to this time last year, but they're still selling pretty quick.
Are the builders giving incentives to make them sell?
Yeah, it depends on the builder, but there are quite a few builders who are doing rate buy downs. There was an email I got from the builder who actually in my neighborhood, one of the homes, they're buying it down to under 6.
Under 6
is what they were offering.
Okay.
I think the rate they put out was like 5.68. They were willing to buy it down to.
And is that on a permanent buy down or a temporary buy down?
That I don't know.
They didn't put that. Okay. So great point though, because that's a lot of people don't know. So as somebody that's experienced in this,
mm-hmm.
probably got more experience than even seasoned individuals, to look for that, and it's not really there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're seeing a builder that's offering properties and offering a buy down, you've got the majority, most buy downs are either 3-2-1 buy down, a 2-1 buy down, or a permanent buy down. 3-2-1, basically first year they take 3% off the interest rate. Does not help you qualify, but it does help with your budget. Then you've got then the next year it's 2% off, then it's 1% off, and then you go to the full number for the remainder of the life of the loan. The permanent buy down is just what it says. You're buying it down, or it's being bought down for the entire life of the loan. And that does allow you to use that number to qualify because it's a life of the loan buy down. So if you see those things, you need to understand what the differences are and ask that question. And as I shared yesterday, if you go to a new builder, don't give them your name. unless you're with your real estate agent, right? And the reason, again, and not that, there's a commission built into that price of whatever the builder is selling it for. But if you give them your name, then they're not going to pay your realtor, and you want your realtor to be representing you, to give you the guidance. Now, you're familiar with builder contracts.
I think I've done more builders than anything else for buyers.
Okay. Did you use the standard California Association of Realtors contract or the builder's contract?
They always have their own contracts.
They have their own contracts.
Mhm.
Probably doesn't have as many protections for the buyers.
Oh, absolutely not.
It's all written by their lawyers for their benefit.
Yes.
Okay. Now, are you able to help the buyers then understand what's in that contract?
Yes.
Okay. So, and there exactly is the reason. So you've got a contract that's one-sided. My opinion, I'm not putting words in Mary's mouth.
I will accept those words.
Okay. Okay. And you've been seeing them.
Yes.
So the contract's one-sided in the favor of the builder. And do you understand all the terms that are in there? Big issue. And again, you want to have somebody representing you. I'm going to tell you for sure. Here's the thought. If you were getting divorced, would you want to use your partner's attorney to represent you? Just throw that out there. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, we will continue our conversation on the monthly market report. How long are people staying in their homes? We're going to talk about that. Should baby boomers buy or rent after selling their houses? And more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Is your budget getting blown up with high prices of gas and increased costs for other household needs? This is Ron Siegel, host of the daily home and finance radio program. Did you know if you have a low interest rate mortgage along with auto debt, credit card debt, or student loans, your family could potentially save $500 or more per month by restructuring these debts? If you'd like a free Borrow Smart analysis with our team, let's book an appointment to see how we might be able to relieve some stress. Schedule your appointment at rsrbsa.com. That's rsrbsa.com. for your free Borrow Smart analysis. rsrbsa.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com. Should baby boomers buy or rent after selling their houses? Are you a baby boomer who's lived in your house, your current house, for a long time, and you're ready for a change? If you think about selling your house, you have a lot to consider. Will you move to a different state or stay nearby? Is it time to downsize or right size? Or do you want more space to accommodate your loved ones? But maybe the biggest consideration boils down to this. Will you buy your next home or choose to rent instead? That decision ultimately depends on your current situation and your future plans. Here are two important factors to help you decide what's right for you. Expect rents to keep going up. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials at ABC News and Talk, AM 1490 video feed, you're seeing median asking rent since 1988. Up until about 2011, it looked like a bunny slope if you think about skiing. Now it looks like a cliff since 2012.
You can't even call it a black diamond. It's
Can't
it's just a cliff.
Straight down, right? I mean, look at that. That's crazy. Rents have been going up consistently over the long run. If you choose to rent, there's a risk your rental payment will go up each time you renew your lease. Having a higher rental expense may not be something you want to deal with every year in what's supposed to be your golden years.
Especially if you're living on a fixed income.
Yeah, that's hard. It's
Mhm.
painful. When you buy a home with a fixed rate mortgage, it helps stabilize your monthly housing payment. This allows you to lock in your monthly payment for the duration of your home loan. That keeps your payments steady and predictable for the long haul. Freddie Mac sums it up like this, quote, homeowners with fixed rate loans will see little to no change to their monthly housing cost over the life of their loan. you can be confident in knowing that your mortgage payments won't change much in the long term, even when life's other costs do, unquote. Owning your home comes with unique benefits. According to ARP, buying your next home is better long-term strategy than renting. Quote, though each option has pros and cons, buying provides more pros with a broader range of benefits, unquote. To help you choose what you'll do after you sell, here are just a few of the benefits of home ownership that article covers. Owning your home can help you save money for the future. I guess if you're old, I don't know what that means, but your home and the equity you build as a homeowner can provide generational wealth that could be passed on to loved ones, give them a better life. You might not have to pay a monthly mortgage payment at all if you have enough equity to buy your next home outright. Don't do that. You wouldn't have a monthly mortgage payment, while you might still need to cover property taxes or maintenance fees. Not having to worry about the monthly mortgage payment could be a big relief. Let's talk about a reverse mortgage. It is a great product. Aging in place can be simpler if your needs change. Owning your home gives you the freedom to make renovations and updates that can make everyday life easier. I would say on this one, pretty simple. My father-in-law lived for 30 years, give or take, maybe 25, with MS. In a rental, I don't know that he could have put the lifts in the ceiling that he needed, changed the walls, opened up, make wider for his wheelchair. Think about that. If you're a baby boomer who's wondering whether you should buy or rent your next home, give me a call. With rents going up and home ownership provides many benefits, it may make sense to consider buying. And if you're thinking of that moving out of state concept that I mentioned, Geneva came out with their transition loan. Got a lot of equity in your property that you're selling. How about buy a new house before you sell the old one? Don't make any payments for a few months. Not a problem. A lot of different options on that transition loan where you can actually buy, close, move in before you sell. Give me a call again, 800-306-1990. That's the Real-Time Real Estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com. Continuing our conversation, chatting with Mary Gaston, Realty Pro 100, the millennial and the old man. So staying in their homes long. This is an interesting slide because we have this slide going back from 1985. And Josh, if you have this one, slide 10. Today's homeowners are staying in their houses for an average of 9 years, over 9 years. From 1985 to 2009, it averaged 6.1 years. Now, if you're watching us, it's a slide. I don't know why my numbers are. There you go. If you're looking at this on RonSiegelRadio.tv and our socials, we only put the years on that NAR did this. They didn't do it every year. So they didn't give the data. So we didn't miss something here. It's just we only have the years they did this. 6.1 years. Now it's over about 9.3 years since 2010. Kind of goes back to what we were talking about before. People are just staying. There's not a catalyst.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, home sales are down. People are staying longer.
Yeah, you don't. Well, they're staying. And is it the chicken and egg, though?
Mm-hmm.
Are home sales down because people are staying longer? Or are people staying longer because affordability and pricing?
Because of the affordability.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they want to. They just don't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, some people want that new build. Some people don't like new build. Some people want to move out of the big cities.
Yeah, personally, I don't see a lot of people who are selling in one city to stay in that same city to buy again.
Okay.
I think the majority is people are moving cities or they're moving out of state.
So the question is going to become, during the pandemic, it became that people were moving from the rural areas, from the urban areas, the downtown areas. They were going out into Tuleville because they could work remotely. Mm-hmm. Now that some of these companies are forcing you to go back to the office,
they're going to have a hard time getting back in, though.
That's the question. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are they going to be able to? Because, in some of the cities now, in this segment, I don't get political, but there is more, crime to worry about. And some of the, people don't want to really live in San Francisco anymore.
Oh, absolutely not. And I think a lot of those people, they've become so accustomed to working from home. If they're being told they need to be back in the office, they're looking for another job that they can work from home.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. And you'd have firsthand on this because you said earlier that you live in, I think you said Tuleville?
Palmdale?
No, I thought you said, I know.
Oh, I think I said middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere. Okay. So, but you get people, did people move from the main city metropolis to Palmdale area?
Oh, yeah. I was talking to the sales rep in my community, and she says a lot of the people who are coming, they're actually from Orange County. They're from LA, and they're commuting.
Well, I think when you and I spoke about it quite a while ago, the size property that you got,
Mhm.
if you had to buy that in Orange County,
Would be a shack for the same price.
yeah, price would be a shack, or the property that you got would be multi-million,
Oh, absolutely.
right? So you're able, and so you didn't pay multi-millions.
Oh no.
Okay, just curious. I mean, I didn't know if you won the lottery and then went out there,
Oh, I wish, but
right?
if I won the lottery, I would not be out there. Let's just say that.
Oh, okay, put it there. There we go. So the bottom, but you're able to get a lot for your money,
Yes.
and now you do sacrifice a little bit
Hmm.
because you're able to telecommute part time,
Yes.
but you also do commute sometimes.
Yes.
And that gives you what's your commute time?
Well, I leave my house at 4:30 in the morning, so it's only an hour and a half.
Wow.
If
Okay.
I left, 6 or 7, it would take me 3 hours.
3 hours.
Hmm.
Okay. So you're fortunate this time that your baby can be with you at that time.
Yes.
So she can probably sleep the whole ride.
Yep.
When it comes to when she's older and you're dealing with kindergarten and school,
Hmm.
becomes a whole different subject, a bit different conversation.
Yes.
Okay. So month's inventory of homes for sale. Still not a whole lot of inventory available.
Nope.
Now we've talked about this before. The normal market is 6 months.
Hmm.
And I think it's
Well,
been
not normal, balance.
balanced. You're right. There you go. You're right. Absolutely. It's been a long time since we've seen a inventory of 6 months availability.
Yes.
I think that I've got another chart that we'll have later in the week that shows that it's been about 10 years.
I was gonna say, in my experience, I would say I feel like that number needs to be adjusted down, because at this point, anytime there's a home that's on the market, 3-4 months, it really seems to be slipping more into the buyers,
Buyer's
the
side.
advantage.
So as an agent or leading agents, when you see a property that's been on the market for 4 months, what is your thought?
The sellers have a little bit more desperation.
The sellers have more desperation.
Yeah, so it's sort of the power sort of slips into the buyer's hands a little bit more.
Okay. I was thinking from my perspective is what's wrong with that property?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it on the market that long? What are they
Either
doing?
way, the power slipping in the buyer's hands.
Right,
There's something wrong with
exactly.
the property.
Yeah, exactly. Or even if the seller's not desperate, maybe the seller's got a unrealistic expectation of price.
Yes.
If the seller's desperate, or if the buyer thinks there's a problem with the property, all of those issues basically say, something's going on here that we've got to explore.
Yeah, so that's why I sort of argue that the 6 months I feel like might be a little bit outdated, but also might go back to I've only been in real estate for 10 years, so we've never really had that normal balance.
Yeah, you've never had a balanced market. Yeah, it's exactly. So the question is, what's going to happen in that? We don't know. So maybe it is, but again, if you see a property that's been on the market for 4 months, I'd start asking questions. I don't, it could be unrealistic. Any one of those things I just mentioned could be.
And honestly, it could just be the marketing of the agent.
Ah.
It could just be, the placement of the property, the photos. It doesn't do it justice. It could just be a marketing standpoint, but normally that's not where it is.
So that goes to the next question I would have for you, and it's not part of our discussion here in essence, but you may know the answer. What do you see for the most part as a normal contract time? The time that a seller will give the agent in the contract to sell the property?
That's a great question. I don't go over every contract in the office, but I would say most people take normally at least 6 month listings.
6 month listings. Okay. I know that's what it had been historically. So I just didn't know if it was still there. I look at it and say, if it's not sold in 90 days, why? Mm-hmm. We're going to continue our conversation with Mary Gaston, Realty Pro 100. I actually caught Josh's letting me know that we're at the break time. Reach me anytime off air, number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
79% of all credit reports have errors that should be corrected through factual disputing. You could be saving thousands every year if your report was accurate. CreditSanitizer.com provides a free credit report audit when you furnish a specific $1 credit report. You can use this information to request corrections to your report and potentially save thousands of dollars. Get your free credit audit at CreditSanitizer.com. That's CreditSanitizer.com for a free credit report audit. CreditSanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. As usual, I talk too much, and we've gone overtime. So I will just tell you, Borrow Smart, brought to you by RSRStudentLoanHelp.com. RSRStudentLoanHelp.com. If you have student loans, 41 million of us in America do. Go to check it out, RSRStudentLoanHelp.com. There are 11 programs already cleared by Congress, so it's not a matter of whether the president's doing this unilaterally, that will allow you to minimize or reduce your student loan payments. Sometimes by as much as 70%, sometimes by as many as 30 years. Think about that. Don't refinance ever. Do not ever refinance a student loan. That'll cost you money. RSRStudentLoanHelp.com. Continue our conversation. Mary Gaston, Realty Pro 100. We're chatting about real estate. We're chatting about the millennial perspective and the old man perspective. And got on a lot of different rabbit trails this morning. If you've missed them, you should go back and take a look at some of these, because we're covering a lot of areas and a lot of things that people maybe or may not be thinking about. August, new listings. So ironically enough, probably the first time in many, many years, it's not on this chart, but first time in many, many years, August listings actually went up from the June or July numbers.
Interesting.
Kind of crazy when you think about it. And it's long, as far as many years, the charts that I've seen, I haven't seen a chart that even goes back far enough to show where August was more listings than June or July. It usually starts tapering off.
Yeah, usually like peaks in July. And
right, heads on down. Now, we look at these, and we're looking at new listing count for August of every year. And don't think when you're looking at this chart on RonSiegelRadio.tv or socials that we have trouble counting. We do know that 2020, 2021, and 2022 existed. We call those unicorn years, so we don't really count those as normal. 387,000, though, in 2023 for August listings versus pretty close to 490,000 on average before that.
Yep.
That's a significant drop, 25% drop.
Yeah.
Not a lot. So you wonder why sales are down? Pretty easy answer.
And you wonder why the prices aren't falling even though interest rates are going up.
That's a great comment, because most people don't think about that. So explain that part a little bit more, because everybody talked. Chapman University said the prices are going to drop. Mm-hmm. You and I laugh, right? And I tell them right to their face, because I did go there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I remember back in the pandemic years when it was so low, we were talking about what's going to stop the prices from going up. And I said interest rates. That's the only thing that's going to stop them from going up, is if the interest rates are higher. Well, interest rates went higher, but the demand dropped even more.
Ah, okay.
So that demand is down. So even though interest rates are higher, the demand fell even further.
Well,
the supply.
Yeah.
Mom brain.
Yeah.
The supply fell even further than it was.
Yeah. So no supply, that holds prices up.
Yeah, and the supply was already an issue when the rates were so low. And then even though rates went higher, the supply dropped even further.
So
prices are going down.
Let's go off script again then.
Okay.
So if interest rates go down, is that going to bring more demand on more supply on the market?
No, but it's going to bring more demand.
It's going to bring more demand.
Yeah.
So those people that can't buy now are actually going to be able to buy if they could find something.
Yeah. I mean, I really only see more supply coming on the market is if the rates get down to as low as they were, because then people are going to feel more comfortable moving from that starter home to something that they need, like something bigger, because the rates are going to be similar.
Which is an interesting perspective, the way you put that, Mary, because you looked at it again from the millennial perspective as to the starter home to get to the bigger property.
People won't feel stuck anymore.
But, from the old man perspective,
Mhm.
I say, something? Do I really want a 4-bedroom house or a 5-bedroom house?
Mhm.
Think about yourself. So you've got a larger property,
Yes.
and now push out 30 years from now.
Mhm.
Is that still going to be the property that's going to suit your needs?
No, it's going to be it's already too big.
Okay, so it's already too big.
Yes.
So, if rates come down and, you've got a massive, so here's the question. 30 years from now, theoretically, you could have your mortgage paid off
Yes.
if you wanted to,
Mhm.
right? Now, and you want a smaller house.
Mhm.
Are you going to care about mortgage rates at that point?
No.
Right? You're going to just sell what you have to buy what you want.
Well, I might though, because I would probably rent my house and buy another one.
Well, yeah, true. But the bottom line is you're still probably not going to really care as much about the rates aren't going to be as important to you
Mhm.
because
So
you
they'll
could
have
take the money out
if
of
I
your
need it.
property, right? So the bottom line is as we get old, as you have the older generation, the rates are not as important
Mhm.
as they are to the millennial generation.
Yeah, I mean that's true because I think about my parents. They sold their house and they just wanted to buy cash. They bought cash so they didn't care about where the rates were.
Right. It was an irrelevant issue.
Mhm.
So, I do have the chart. Josh, 17. So we actually do have the chart that shows new listings ticking up. And this chart goes back to 2017. And we've never seen it where the new listings are going up in August. You can see every one of those other charts down dramatically
Mhm.
every month. So the question becomes, what's driving the new listings? Is it people that are have-tos?
Mhm.
Or maybe some people are getting to the point that they're starting to say, something, this is where interest rates are. They're not going to change.
Yeah.
That could be the case too. If you start getting to the point that, it is what it is.
They're accepting it as the new normal.
They're accepting the new normal. And, I've got to have that bigger house or I think I have to. It's not, you may not necessarily have to, but something, if you're in a studio and now you're looking at your second child on the way,
Mhm.
that might be considered a have to.
Yeah.
Right. And it may not be conducive for schooling.
Mhm.
A lot of the studios are not in an area that's conducive for schooling as well. And we should talk about a term that has some negative connotations, but not necessarily. Nepo home buyers. Have you heard that one?
I have not heard that.
Okay, Nepo home buyers. Some people think nepotism is bad, right? But in this scenario, parents giving their kids money to help them buy a house.
It's hard, I think, for most millennials and Gen X or Gen Z, whatever, to buy a house on their own.
Sure.
I think it is hard. And I think about like the future. I'm saving for my daughter.
Well, you may be in the position, and I get it,
Mhm.
that you're saving for your daughter, but you've got a game plan that if you
Yes.
decided to, you could probably set your kids up in their own house,
Mhm.
right? Because you're taking action 20 years before that frame comes.
Yeah. I just think about how hard it is now. I can't imagine how much harder it's going to be in 20, 30 years.
Right. Big issue. So the idea there, old people, young people, plan. Put together that plan, get that plan. And, if you have a plan at least, even if you don't get to exactly where you want to be and you only get 80% of the way there, still a lot better off.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And you're setting up your kids and grandkids for success. If you want more information, give me a call, 800-306-1990. If you want to meet Mary or her team, 800-306-1990. I'd be happy to put you in touch if you want to be in Palmdale.
Yeah.
Which is where you'll find Mary most of the time. Again, 800-306-1990. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean for engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.